Guys, it is so cold outside. Whew. Oh, Lord. Okay. So today, I don't know why, I was inspired to talk about society and kind of how men are placed in a box where we're not supposed to be expressive or have emotions. It was mainly because I was kind of reflecting after I had my class today, and yeah, I'm just thinking about things and my personality. Most of you know, I'm very sensitive and I'm very empathic. I'm also very emotionally intuitive to a lot of stuff. So growing up as a sensitive boy, I experienced a lot of bullying, rejection, and also um, kind of weird reactions to me being sensitive. Um, and that developed an inner sense of insecurity within me because I thought there was something inherently wrong with me. But when I was reflecting today, I was thinking that really there's nothing wrong with me. There's a lot wrong with our society and how we view men and women. Men and women have the same emotional capacities as babies before they're really socialized. So when we take that into consideration and how men and women express emotions, um, really emotions aren't gender. Emotions were taught to us by our caregivers, and they were kind of what we were allowed to express was based on how our family taught us how. And that's I think that's very eye-opening for a lot of men that are that do struggle with expressing themselves or want to express themselves more openly. I think there is that's that barrier that we need to recognize. And we need to recognize that what we've been taught isn't really necessarily right, and it's not healthy, you know. And biblically speaking, God, our God, is complex and has a lot of complex emotions, a lot of grief, lament, and anger, um, overwhelming joy and love for his people. And if men aren't men are taught that those emotions are wrong or weird, then we're cutting ourselves off from a natural experience that we all have. And that can lead to a lot of mental health issues down the line if we're not expressing who we are and how we feel. So another thing in regards to my personality is I'm very definitely I'm not your typical masculine guy. I'm what people would call feminine, or I'm very nurturing. I have a motherly presence um in my friend group. I have a very motherly presence, and for a long time, especially in high school, people assume that I am gay, and I feel that people need to understand that personality has little to do with your sexual orientation. And people men can be very feminine and still can be heterosexual, or men can be hyper masculine or very masculine into typical what we deem as typical masculine interest, and still be have a homosexual orientation. So I think we have a very limited view on ourselves and other men. If we get to know men, if we get to know our men and our friends better, then we can have a wider perspective and viewpoint on our own identities and people and other identities. And I think we need to approach this topic with empathy and compassion, and also open-mindedness, because if we're so closed-minded to how we view other people and how other people express themselves, then we're not allowing to really truly get to know them. And when it comes to developing community and friendships, we need to be getting to know people by just allowing them to be themselves, and allowing that person to um, tell you who they are, and not like assume anything, because assuming something about someone is not good. Also, this whole like thing about, like, for me, I'm very I love to shop, I love fashion, and I'm very, as I said before, I'm very sensitive, I'm very intuitive. I'm intuitive with people's emotions, I'm intuitive with nature. I connect deeply to a lot of things, and that's not seen as a normal trait for a guy, especially like as a black guy. That's not seen as normal. It's seen as weird, or like, this person's weird, but it isn't. It's actually more common and more natural than we like to think. It's just a lot of people have been socialized to hide that part of themselves because of their family, or their culture, or how they grew up in school, kind of forced them to kind of hide into like this box that they're not really allowed to express themselves. They don't feel safe to express themselves. So in our adulthood, we have the opportunity to develop secure attachments with one another, so that we can heal that wound that we all carry as men from, like, since our childhood, where we're not allowed to fully express ourselves. When you're deeply seen by someone and you're deeply loved, um, through the power of God's love, that heals you. That allows you to feel safe and comfortable in your own skin. Um, and in order to experience that, we need to let go of these standards that force us to suppress like who we really are, and what we're truly feeling, and how we express that. And if you're embarking on that journey, number one, I recommend therapy, as always. I'm a huge advocate for it. Number two, I recommend to be patient with yourself, have grace for yourself, have grace and compassion for other people, because other men are going through the same thing. Like, I have friends that like didn't that don't that take a very long time to express who they are and how they feel. But I have grace and compassion for them, because I know that I struggle too. So we're all in the same journey. We just need to be more open about it. Um, but yeah, I'll talk to you guys later, and I hope you enjoyed this video.